Hello, folks. Welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and we're going to be looking at some comic books and news stories and having a bunch of fun. But while we wait for people to gather into the chat, let's go and look at some of my artwork for my upcoming graphic novel, Scumdogs. Just a moment while I get that up. Look at some of my right. Let's get this up. There. Just a moment. Let's see. You know, when I have my upcoming graphic novel out, I'm still working on it. It'll be out on Indiegogo, so be sure to back it. As I keep telling you every day, it's coming, folks, so don't worry. Let's get... All right. Let's do this. Just a moment. Just a moment. Here we are. Let me do this. All right. All right, over here to share screen now. Oh, we have someone watching us. Thank you for checking in. Enjoy the show. Let's do over here. I meant here. Here we have a page with Buick Starpoon on it, the new sensation that everyone wants to hear about. The man with the most idiotic name imaginable, with the most idiotic hair imaginable. You know it's him because he's the pink pompadour hair with the little palm tree growing out of it. All right. Here's the black and white, and we can compare it. This was a later coloring job, and I did a much better job coloring it than before, my earlier works. And so I'm thinking about recoloring some of the earlier pages and maybe even recoloring this a bit, at least parts of it. But otherwise, it came out very good. All right, like that. Over here. Let's see. I mean, look at my first panel, my first page. It's good. But when I compare it to the others, to the later effort I did, it's not quite as good. I can color, and I'm good at it. But that's why I'm thinking about having my graphic novel colored by someone like Kyle Ritter or another colorist. Let's see. Where are you? Here's the black and white version of it, and you can see the black and white art is very good, more detailed it feels. The coloring seemed to have done it, taking away some of the details I feel. So I'm thinking about just recoloring it. All right. All right, I looked at this a bit. Let's look at some other efforts. Here's a page with Papa Snorn. He's the leader of the Snorers. He looks like the father from Mary Poppins, doesn't he? Especially with that carrot leaf mustache he has. Now, he looks pretty awesome. He's also partially based on, well, as I said, Papa Smurf from the Smurfs. as well as Mr. Roger from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Well, the sweater jacket there he has. I was trying to do it. It's when it's colored, the jacket will be red, but otherwise he's purple and orange like the other Snorers. And he looks pretty good, doesn't he? That's some artwork up here. All right. Here's another page that I really like. It has a really well done facial expression on Deathmug here, the cyborg. You can see him here. He looks angry, then he looks sort of confused. In this one, his face actually morphs to fit it. The eye hole gets, well, smaller and bigger, like Spider-Man and mask and stuff. And here we have him saying, "What?" If this were colored, you'd see that his eyes would be completely green and they'd be shooting green lightning out of them, and you'd see green down his throat as power was coming out of him. Let's see this. Here now is the fully finished cover to the Scumdogs graphic novel. Even though it's finished, I'm thinking about going back and, well, putting in a few more characters coming out of this purple hole here and stuff like that, a few more of the characters. But here we have Deathmug, the purple guy. He's basically based on, as I've said before, Cobra Commander from G.I. Joe and a bunch of other 80s villains, like, well, Shredder and Skeletor and Serpentor. Behind him are basically, well, Murder Mouth and Sloppy. Murder Mouth is a guy with the top hat and string top hat and blue skin with the big, and the pink guy is Sloppy. They're basically based on Bebop and Rocksteady. Behind him are E.T. Allen and another Scumdog runner. That's why I'm thinking about adding a few more characters in the background. Here, Deathmug is chasing down the Snores as he rampages through their village. And the background is very cartoony with the sun basically looking on in dismay. He looks awesome, doesn't it, folks? I keep saying that because I love saying that. All right, let's see. Here's another one. See, the artwork is good here, but I feel the coloring took away from it. And if I get colored again, maybe I'll do better. Here's the black and white. All right, there's that. And this stuff here. Here we looked at this earlier. Let's go back over and do this because I really like what I did coloring this page, at least with this background here, and Buick Starpoon's face looks really good. I mean, here it is closer up. Looks pretty damn good, huh? Gotta love his face here. Though I do feel the color is still good, but maybe not as good as it went. Maybe it's just because I need the color better. But otherwise, the background here looks awesome, especially with the colored version. Gotta love it with the orange background with the rock with the sun rising over it, with illuminating the entire fields there. It just looks good. All right. As you know, this rock is based on the Hope Rock from Australia. And like that, I used a picture, and then I have a Deathmug, Murder Mouth, and Sloppy coming out from a warp beside it. Looks pretty good. All right. Here we have some other stuff with Buick Starpoon. Let's see here. Now, here's another page with Buick Starpoon, basically, well, being yelled at by Deathmug. As I said, if you wonder why Deathmug is called Deathmug, it's a joke. You know how well, he has a skull mask? Well, mug can be used as another word for face. You know, your dirty mug. So I decided to call him Deathmug because he has a skull-like face. I could have called him Deathface. Maybe I should, but I thought Deathmug would be funnier. And maybe I'll change it. But I still like Deathmug, kind of. Also, there are other reasons why I want to call him Deathmug. You see this looking pretty good. You see a background. All right. Here's another page. Oh, wait a minute. Let me go back to the, oops. Back to where we were. Yeah, let me blow this up a bit. You see more definition on it. The face looks really good. Let's go back over here. I love this page because the way I drew powered up versions of Sloppy and Murmouth will just look awesome. You see Sloppy, when he powers up, he gets tentacles wrapping around him like an aura, while Murdermouth gets an actual aura with a bunch of halos around his hat and arms and legs. Death Mug gets just a regular aura. And the joke here is being as he looks, God, they powered themselves up. And worse, they look cooler than me. All right, let's go back over here. Let's see. There's this, looking good. And also, let's go down here. Here we have Hair Metal Doctor, who is also based on, well, Dr. Mindbender from G.I. Joe. He's a mad scientist crossed over with an 80s hair metal musician. You see the sparks coming out of his guitar with his patient in the background screaming his head off. Wow, it looks awesome, huh? Let's do this. Here's the black and white version. You can compare. This is the best coloring job I've done, and you can see it's good enough to be in a comic book because it really looks great. So yes, I can color it, and it won't be a problem doing my comic book. But maybe I'll get another colors to do this. All right, let's see. Here are some of the faces I use. Well, these are some of the characters as I was designing Hair Metal Doctor. Now I won't say this is actually what Hair Metal Doctor looks like underneath his mask, but you can see the Ozzy Osbourne hair as well as Ozzy Osbourne faces over here. I used as models. Here are some more models, and you can see that, well, Dr. Mindbender from G.I. Joe and Toe Cutter from Mad Max, well, the Road Warrior, as well as Ozzy Osbourne. I used them as faces, and it came up with these faces. Trying to design Hair Metal Doctor. All right there. There's these faces I did. Now, these, as well as other pictures, as well as the pinups, will be included in the Scumdogs graphic novel. The actual story itself is going to be 66 pages long, and with another 10 or so pages of stuff like this, as well as pinups in it as well. Well, also you'll be 66 like that, and you'll enjoy it. You'll also have a chance to buy alternate covers as well for the actual graphic novel. And as well as a couple of, well, short stories, one-page short stories with the Scumdogs, basically doing parodies of this thing. You know how G.I. Joe would have these like commercials in them that would say, "Don't touch electrical wires." Well, I'll have a couple of them. They'll make it from 66 pages to 69 pages with one little short stories of those parodying those kinds of things. All right, let's see. Let me blow this up a bit. You see the faces here look pretty good. You see Ozzy Osbourne's glasses on this face down here. All right. Here's Hair Metal musician, Hair Metal Doctor's accessories, his doctor's coat, and Dean ML Switchblade Series 6 electric guitar. And here we have Miss Breasty Melons, who is based on the Baroness from G.I. Joe. And I love her face. She looks so fun and mischievous, huh? Let's get the colored version up, which is down here. Here's the fully colored one. As you see, I kind of cropped it a bit, and you don't see as much of the background as you do in here. Before we look at that, here's the black and white line art for Hair Metal Doctor. And a close-up in it, you can see his mask on, his face, everything a bit closer up. Looks awesome. But I really love this one. The cartoony background, you see most of it right here. It's somewhat cartoony, but it looks pretty good. Now, that looks great. Let's go back over here, 14 minutes in, give it another... like this. As I said, she's based on the Baroness from G.I. Joe, as well as Tiamat and Zaymot from G.I. Joe as well. She's Miss Bursty Malin. She's the owner of and CEO of her own company, and she basically finances the Scumdogs. It's a kind of fun. She's basically doing this for the hell of it because she finds it fun to be a villain. And it just looks great. All right. Looks very good. Let me go back over here. Let's see. Oh, 15. Let's see. All right. Let's now go and look at maybe some Indiegogos. And then, oh, yeah. Thank you. We have more people watching the Scumdogs Kill. Thank you for joining us. All right. I guess Richard Meyer isn't going to do anything with do as your ballot of no there. All right. There's that. There's that. All right. Let's see. Well, before we do anything else, let's go over to Bounding into Comics. See if there's anything good to look at there. Dr. Disrespect responds to Twitch ban. Spoilers. Latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super sees Moro unleashing his power against Goku, Vegeta, and the Z Fighters. Let's see. After Dynamite Comics canceled Cecil's big cover Dynamite Entertainment campaign placed in review. Indiegogo. Right. What to look at first? Let's look at this. Warns about a closer relationship with China. Last week, Attorney General Bill Barr basically argued at Disney, Marvel Studios, and other Hollywood production companies and actors for their crazy relationship with the People's Republic of China. Barr's speech made Gerald R. Ford Presidential Museum specifically addressed what Barr described as the most important issue for our nation and the world in the 21st century, and that is the United States' response to the global ambitions Chinese Communist Party. He elaborated, the CCP rules with an iron fist over one of the greatest ancient civilizations in the world. It seeks to leverage the immense power of productivity and ingenuity of the Chinese people to overthrow the rules-based international system to make the world safe for dictatorship. In the beginning of the speech, Barr warns about China's ambitions and goals. He described China's practice as an economic blitzkrieg. Barr elaborated, the People's Republic of China is now engaged in an economic blitzkrieg, an aggressive, orchestrated whole-of-government, indeed whole-of-society campaign to seize the commanding heights of the global economy and surpass the United States' preeminent superpower. He specifically notes the ultimate ambition of China's rulers isn't to trade with the United States, it is to raid the United States. Around halfway through the speech, he took an aim at Hollywood production studios. He first called them out for their capitulation to Hollywood censors. He stated, take Hollywood actors, producers, and directors pride themselves on celebrating freedom and the human spirit. And every year at the Academy Awards, the Americans are lectured about how this country falls short of Hollywood's ideals of social... Yeah, because they're a bunch of idiots. He continued, but Hollywood now regularly censors its own movies to appease the Chinese Communist Party, the world's most powerful violator of human rights. This censorship infects not only versions of movies that are released in China, but also many that are shown in American theaters to American audiences, he added. To make his point clear, Barr said World War Z, for example, the hit movie World War Z depicts a zombie apocalypse caused by a virus. The original version of the film reportedly contained a scene with that the virus may have originated in China, and the novel Patient Zero is a boy from Chongqing. He added, but the studio Paramount Pictures told purchasers to delete the reference to China in the hope of landing a Chinese distribution deal. The deal never materialized. Yep. He then pointed to Marvel Studios and Doctor Strange. Barr explained the Marvel Studios blockbuster Doctor Strange filmmakers changed the nationality of a major character known as the Ancient One, a Tibetan monk in the comic books from Tibetan to Celtic. When challenged about this, Scrivener explained that if you're acknowledging that Tibet is a place and that he's a Tibetan, you're risking alienating 1 billion people. Or he continued, yeah, alienating 1 billion people, huh? Ooh, for the Chinese communists, huh? We need to do that. Never mind the fact that China is basically, well, violating the rights of Tibetans. He continued, the Chinese government might say we are not going to show your movie because you decided to get political, Barr stated. He then details that this behavior is a systematic in Hollywood. These are just 2 examples of the many Hollywood films that have been altered one way or another to conform to CCP propaganda. Barr continued. National Security Advisor O'Brien offered even more examples in his remarks, but many more scripts likely never see the light of day because writers and producers know not even to test the limits. Chinese government censors don't need to say a word because Hollywood is doing their work for them. This is a massive propaganda coup for the Chinese Communist Party. The Attorney General also took the game to lay out the motivation behind Hollywood's quick desire to bow before the communists. Yeah, they want money. They want the Chinese money. They're idiots. Chinese. The story of the film industry's submission to CCP is a familiar one. In the past 2 decades, China has emerged as the world's largest box office. The CCP has long tightly controlled access to their lucrative market, both through quotes on American films imposed in violation of China's WTO obligations and a strict censorship regime. He added, increasingly, Hollywood also relies on Chinese money for financing. In 2018, films and Chinese investors account for 20% of U.S. box office ticket sales, compared to 3.8% of years earlier. And it's going to fail. Screw you, Mulan. Screw you. He then detailed that China's aim, like other businesses, is to co-opt Hollywood, but in the long run, as with American industries, the PRC may be less interested in cooperating with Hollywood than co-opting Hollywood and eventually replacing with its own homegrown productions. The nation's top prosecutor laid out how he believes the CCP would accomplish this feat. To accomplish this, the CCP has been following its own usual modus operandi by imposing a quota on American films. The CCP pressures Hollywood studios to form joint ventures with Chinese companies who then gain access to U.S. technology and know-how. And we should stop that because they are goddamn thieves. Well, the CCP is. China, if you're going to infer that I'm being racist to them, China has been basically known as an entire country of people who basically make knockoffs. He added, as the one Chinese film executive recently put it, everything we learned from Hollywood. Notably, in 2019, 8 of the top grossing films in China were produced in China. But it wasn't done with his criticisms of Hollywood, yet he set aim at the biggest fish in the pond, Disney, and gave a quick historical recap. This once iconic American company. He explained World War II, for example, the iconic American company Disney made dozens of public information films for the government, including training videos to educate American sailors on navigation tactics. During the war, over 90% of Disney employees were devoted to the production of training and public information films to boost the morals of American troops. Disney also designed insignia that appeared on planes, trucks, flight jackets, military equipment used by American and Allied forces. Barr would then invoke the founder of Disney himself, Walt Disney. Walt Disney would be disheartened to see how the company founded deals with the foreign dictatorships of our day. Yep. Then again, I'm not exact. Well, he then cited how Disney's current behavior greatly in contrast to their previous one. And what's this? Another Chinese film? Kundan, the main story, 14th. Ooh. But noted back in 1997, Disney stood up to China before quickly capitulating to them. Barr explained when Disney production, the 1997 film, but the PRC's oppression of the Dalai Lama, the CCP objected to the production for Disney to abandon it. Ultimately, Disney decided that it couldn't let a foreign power dictate whether it would distribute a movie in the United States. He continued, but that movement of courage wouldn't last long. After the CCP banned all Disney films in China, the company lobbied hard to regain access. The CEO apologized for Kundan, calling it a stupid mistake. Stupid mistake, you stupid bastards, Disney. Disney then begging, courting the PRC to open $5.5 billion theme park in Shanghai as part of the deal. Disney agreed to give Chinese government officials a role in management, he detailed. He then described that Disney employees at this park would display communist symbols. And how's that working out for you that Disney theme park where they are reopening despite the fact that of the illy ill being around. Almost thinks like this illy ill thing is a big lie, huh? Because they weren't willing to let it be out there that long. Park's 11,000 full-time employees, 300 are active members of the Communist Party. They reportedly display hammer and sickle on their desks and attend party lectures during business hours. Yuck. He then warned Disney may quickly learn its capitulation to China comes at a great cost. Like other American companies, Disney may eventually learn the hard way the cost of compromising its principles. Soon after Disney opened its park in Shanghai, a Chinese-owned theme park popped up a couple of hundred miles away, featuring characters that, according to news reports, looked suspiciously like Snow White and other Disney trademarks. Barr makes it a fair point. If Walt Disney were alive, it's doubtful that he'd be pleased with how those in the leadership of this company are managing affairs with a hostile foreign power. According to the Walt Disney Museum blog, Disney is extremely patriotic. In World War II, he quotes as saying, "Tomorrow will be better as long as America keeps alive the ideas of freedom and better life." Disney also toured his service with the Red Cross Ambulance Corps during World War I, telling his daughters, Diane, the things I did during those 11 months I was overseas added up to a lifetime of experience. It was such a valuable experience that I feel that if we have to send our boys into the army, we should send them even younger than we do. I know being my own at an early age has made me more self-reliant. Yeah. All right. Dr. Disrespect. The situation up until recently concerning Twitch streamer Guy D. Disrespect Brom, one of the life's biggest mysteries. For those unfamiliar, Dr. Disrespect was reportedly banned from Twitch for no reasons were forthcoming from Twitch, and Dr. Disrespect has not made a statement. The ban was quite surprising, given that it had recently been reported to Rod Basu that Dr. Disrespect had re-signed to Twitch an exclusive multi-year streaming deal. Whew. The mystery surrounding Dr. Disrespect's reported ban thickened when a new trailer titled Alleyways dropped on Doc's YouTube channel. The trailer features a silhouetted Doc standing in an alleyway, presumably contemplating his next move. The song is independent artist J1, and it channels the 80s-style synth sound often found in shows like Miami Vice. Truth be told, the song is instantly catchy. I've listened to it myself probably 10 times. As expected, the trailer caused a ton of buzz and over 1.7 million views. While people were speculating what it meant to take long for Brom to speak, he discussed the recent Twitch ban in an interview with PC. When asked what was going on the past 3 weeks, Brom said it's been tough and indicated that he and his team are working as a return. Brom stated, while it's unfortunate that I'm off Twitch, we're definitely working behind the scenes on what Dr. Return might look like. In terms of the specifics around that, we're not interested in exclusive at this point. Just a moment. Let's go back over here. He added, we're exploring our options and honestly just can't wait to get back into character. Soon we have to do a lot to do, and I'll be whatever fans want me to be. As you know, that's been our approach. He would later elaborate, well, let's just say all the cards are on the table. I'm more focused on just making sure whatever we do next, whether it's a platform move or not, that it's the right decision for the community and Champions Club that follows me. Brom continued, then that makes sense to what I want to accomplish with character in terms of taking things to the next level, and whether it's streaming or outside of stream. So it's just being conscious of that decision. PC Gamer indicated that in a follow-up email, Doc told them he's considering streaming to his Champions Club website, YouTube, Facebook Gaming, or a combination of the three. Doc would also reveal how he would found out about the ban and what his reaction was. He explained, well, to be honest, okay, so we got the news, it was total shock. Imagine just going to work one day and the door is closed and you can't get inside and you've been told that you were fired and you weren't given a reason why. You know why? For me, it was just the initial shock. The way I discovered it, I was in a buddy system and some of the features stated turning off while I was just in the chat and everything, and then all of a sudden social media was blowing up. I got on the call with my team, and after one quick email, it was all over. Brom elaborated. Wow, they just did that to him, huh? Dr. Disrespect. Jeez. Oh, this sounds bad, huh? Them basically doing it. So they don't even give a reason why they did it. Now, I don't even know. They're not even using any racist angles. They just fired this guy, a very lucrative streamer on Twitch, for absolutely no reason. It makes no bloody sense. He then stated at that particular moment, it was more of just a kind of shocked, like, what just happened, and both my wife and I are just like, what's going on? So that's kind of how things kind of went down. And then from there, you're sort of digesting it. You're still not getting any answers. So that's kind of why I wouldn't have known what to say, We put out the one tweet, our statement, and that's kind of where things are at, he added. Brahm would also confirm that there still hasn't been any communication. He had previously stated in June that Twitch had not given any specific reason for their decision to ban him. Twitch has notified me on has not notified. He would also indicate he will not return to Twitch, obviously for legal counsel. I have to be careful here, but I can say, however, that I will not be returning to Twitch, so I mean that's it. Brahm also hinted that his team might take legal action when asked why he hasn't been more outspoken on social media. He explained, I'm not trying to take the best into appropriate steps as possible, but there are things behind the scenes in terms of from legal standpoint that I can't. That's where it's at, and so I don't want to go on social media and say the wrong thing or the right thing or whatever it is. And like we made our statement, and that's that's where things are at now. He elaborated. He then firmly stated, we are considering taking legal action. He also indicated that there may be some changes to the character and the viewer experience, taking Doc to a new level. As for the final moments of his stream, Brahm stated, again, I've seen all of the types of theories and speculations out there, and it's gut-wrenching and disheartening. But in terms of that particular piece, I could speak directly to you, that was just, I was in a moment where I was just sort of talking and what's going on in the world, He continued, people had context of the cut going into it and coming out of it, like all I was talking about was just the state of the world that they were dealing with the protests and the coronavirus and everything that was happening. It's like a man at that particular moment, I think it was just kind of going through a, like when we can break this funk of 20, it was just me being real on stream. That's pretty much the context of that, Brahm concluded. It seems we're now setting a huge return to Dr. Disrespect. The Christian is now where and is where. Yeah, it looks pretty good, huh? He'll be back, and he'll be just back. Let's go over here now. Let's see. We looked at this. Let's look at this. Right. After Dynamite canceled Cecil, after Dynamite Comics canceled Big Cover, a variant for Vengeance of Vaporella 1 appears on all Dynamite Entertainment Indiegogo campaign have been placed under review. Not only are they under a review, they are no longer searchable on Indiegogo. Dynamite Entertainment had a number of Indiegogo campaigns still running, including Cecil's Big Cover, despite them announcing that it was canceled. Other campaigns include Billy Tucci and Maria Sano's upcoming Miss Fury graphic novel. It was placed under review. Mandy Willer's Vampirella, one variant cover, will also be placed under review. Frank Cho's Red Sonja limited edition cover was placed, as you can see. Dynamite's Boredom Busters was also placed under review. That Star Wars Girl Presents Vampirella was now placed under review. Even the Star Wars Girl Presents a New Project was placed under review. Interestingly enough, Cecil's Big Cover shows a different review image. It reads, this campaign is under review. It's not accepting contributions. However, it still shows the featured image and also describes the campaign as suspended. So maybe there's hope. Not only are the campaigns under review, you are unable to contribute to them, but they are also searchable on Indiegogo. I attempted to search Miss Fury and Billy Tucci and Maria Sano's graphic novel does not show up. Searching Vampirella returns two Ethan Van Sciver Vampirella covers and Joseph M. Lesner's Vampirella variant. Both of these campaigns were now promoted to Dynamite Entertainment. In fact, when you access Dynamite Entertainment's profile page for Indiegogo, it shows that they have 0 campaigns currently running. Bounding into comics, reached out to Mandy Wheeler to see if we knew why the campaign for a variant cover had been placed in her review. She told us, actually, it seems all of Dynamite's Indiegogo campaigns were placed in her review. I'm not sure what's going on right now. I believe they're trying to figure it out. Yeah, what they should be doing is just giving back Cecil his cover. And people will forgive them. That's what they should do. All right. Let's look at this now. Latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super. More Reagan's stuff like with Dragon Ball and stuff like that. Let's see what's happening with Dragon Ball. Despite Goku's new mastery of the Ultra Instinct sign form and Vegeta's new anti-transformation technique, Moro continues to prove that his ancient magic and absorption abilities are far beyond compare, easily wiping the floor with the Z-Fighters in the latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super. With Moro's absorption of 7-3's last chapter, the alien wizard was gained his subvertence copy technique, allowing him to mimic the techniques and abilities of those who he physically touches on the neck. He's damaged pride from his defeat last chapter. Vegeta attacks Moro in a blind rage only for the same prince to be blown away by the villain's use of his own Big Bang attack. As Moro continues to brush off various attempts to attack him by the remaining Z-Fighters, Goku, with the help of Gohan, unleashes his ever-seen warp Kamehameha at point-blank range, causing the enemy to lose an arm. Shockingly, this Kamehameha ultimately has no effect as Moro quickly regenerates his arm and drives it through Goku's chest, leaving him with a giant gaping chest wound. Wow! Yes, Piccolo's regeneration. There were no pesky time limits. After brutally winning the Saiyan hero, Moro proceeds to systematically eliminate Gohan, Piccolo, Android 17, 18, defeating them with Android 18, Piccolo, Android 18, and defeating them with their simple strikes and their own mimicked abilities. He even goes as far as through Piccolo with his own special beam can technique. He also writes defeat during the Saiyan Saga arc of with Jocko being only survivor of Moro's assault, the space patrolman raises his pistol and takes aim at Moro. The wizard's attention is to very last second by the appearance of the angelic angel Agent Maris. The latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super features the complete beating delivered by Moro in a surprise attempt by the Earth Guardian Dende to lend the Z-Fighters assistance. Wow. Let's go over to something else. Got this covered. 37 minutes in, not bad. More people watching us. All right. Let's go down here now. The reasons Leonardo DiCaprio superhero movie. Has never been in a superhero movie. The original Jurassic Park trilogy is returning to Netflix. Okay. HBO Max announces Suicide Squad. Dan Stevens thinks this will happen. Says Jurassic Park is returning to Netflix, huh? All right. Looked at that for a while. Let's go over to VG 24/7. Ghost of Tsushima, any spoilers? Logic quits rap for multi-million-dollar Twitch deal. Logic quits a rap. Let's see. Google bans the World War II game in certain regions. A World War II game, huh? Ryek's sound director resigns due to pressure from China over his personal politics. Ryek recently announced that he had to resign from the mobile rhythm game studio due to the pressure from China over his personal political beliefs. Let's see this. Riot Games sound director Ice recently announced that he had resigned from the Mobile Rhythm Games studio due to the increase of pressure from China over his personal political beliefs. Ice published a statement on his Twitch page explaining why he chose to resign. You can check it out below. There's that. Hello, everyone. Ice here. I've always been marketing posts mostly in English with a little supplement in Chinese for specific purposes. Today, I'm making a statement in both language regarding the recent situation. I hope he should not resign. Ice resigned because he wants to protect Riot from all the criticism about what happened. I'm pretty sure he had no other choice. We're all sad to see Ice go, but please do not send hate that Riot politically because of this. Thank you, Ice, for the good music. I used to play the games under your supervision. They are really good. The company will regret for your resignation. All right. Next, I observed that there was a massive coverage by media quoting my statement that I had made on 18 July and about at 5 a.m. The following is an extension from the correspondence statement. Since I have not met the statement in English, I shall recap it here. A musical piece that I released in March 2020 has created heated debate as this was a personal activity which was related to neither, to neither Riot Games nor was the job duties of my position in Riot Games. I have raised my resignation from Riot Games immediately. The musical piece in concern was titled Telegraph, which was released in the digital EP called Conscious. In the song, there was a Morse code which could be translated into a series of numbers in telegraph format and would be further decoded into a Chinese characters having a meaning that the media has already covered. So basically, he told China he insulted China, huh? This is not good. This is just more Chinese. What can I say? I'm angry. I'm really angry. Let's see. Let's go back over here now. All right. Hello, everyone. Ice here. He wrote, I have always been making posts in English with little sublimation in Chinese for specific purposes. Today, I'm making a statement in both languages regarding the recent situation. First of all, I want to thank personally for my well-being, he added. Apparently, Ice published a statement on July 18th at 5 in the morning. It was picked up by various media outlets, and he wanted to expand on his words with a new speech published in both Chinese and English. Since I have not made the statement in English, I shall recap here short as a new. I guess it just covers the same stuff we just looked at. The musical piece in concern was titled, which was released under the digital EP called Conscious. He added, in the song, there was a mouse code which could be translated into a series of numbers in telegraph format and could be further decoded into Chinese characters. I mean, it is recovered. According to the Global Times paper for China, Ice had implemented the Hong Kong succession slogan into the track. Good! Meaning that the mouse code could be directly translated to Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our times. Back in April, the Chinese government banned Animal Crossing New Horizons after Hong Kong protesters used it to create political stuff. Well, as you can see, China continues to prove that they're a bunch of dictators and they need to be fought with everything we got. America should not be taking this kind of bull. I mean, honestly, this is just more bull proving China is just a bunch of asses. All right, let's go back over here. Maybe exit out of view. All right, let's do this. Look at that. There's some Let's take a look at this. American rapper Logic, known for his tracks such as Homicide, recently announced that he was quitting rap to sign a multi-dollar streaming deal with Twitch. The news comes from a recent interview conducted by The Verge. According to the report, Logic has been streaming on Twitch since about 2015 and said, I'm not this rapper guy, man. I'm just a nerd. I love video games. I'm blessed enough to have millions of fans and followers, Logic told The Verge. I'm going to bring new eyes to their service. They're going to bring new money to my bank account, and I'm just kidding. But according to the report, I'm not joking. This is a multi-million-dollar deal that will see Logic returning tuning in for regular streams each week, which is something he already did anyway. This is the place where if you want to interact with me, you're going to do it here. Logic said, I'm not going to be on Twitch having political debates. I'm going to be on Twitch helping people after they've had a day of protesting or political debates. Protesting or political debates, huh? You just want to make escapism. Good for you. We need more of that. And whine and laugh. And if you want to know how I feel about the world, you listen to my music. The original deal like this one comes up is no slogan that games and music, particularly rap, have been initially entwined with one another for years now. Snoop Dogg is a hockey player in NHL 20. While Deck once set a since broken Twitch record for most concurrent viewers while streaming with Tyler and Ninja Blevins. In fact, even the first gameplay demo for Crash Bandicoot for It's About Time was streamed by Quavo, one of the rappers in popular hip-hop. Migos... in fact, even the first gameplay demo for Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time was streamed by Quavo. Travis Scott is releasing tracks that sound like they sample Kingdom Hearts when he's not performing virtual concerts and when he's not performing. All right, we looked at this. Let's go over to, let's see some other stuff. PC Gamer, maybe let's try Kotaku. Let's go over here. 45 minutes in. Let's have some fun. Let's see, anything here? What are your top 3 platformers of all time? All right. Rogue Company, nothing more, it's fine. Rogue Company, huh? All right, let's take a look at this. Welcome to Ask Kotaku, the new weekly feature in which Kotaku ranks and file weighs in on the burning questions of our time. Each query is a crucible in which nerds and giants clash monumental contests of wit that will, okay, this is just another excuse to talk video games, you know. This week on Ask Kotaku, what are your top 3 platformers of all time? Alexandria. Kono Door, Terpelomane, PS1, 1998. Dreaming Cat Things Clono can grab foes to either throw as weapons or vault to greater heights. That's it. That's the game. Namco squeezed every drop it could from these 3 simple mechanics and dressed it as with a charming storybook presentation, gorgeous music, and delightful looping 2 5D level design. I cried at the bittersweet ending and then jumped back in to master the pleasantly brutal extraversion. Its sequels are okay, but much like Sudden Dreams, only Door to Phantom Mill remains memorable. Ninja Gaiden, 1989. Propulsive Rhythmic, one of the tightest action games ever made. Response is instant. So aptitude alone determines your fate in pressing Tecmo's atmospheric gauntlet of an utterly rude enemy placement. As in many 8-bit games, foes respawn if you scroll the screen backward or not far enough. You can even despawn them. Sometimes I love this sort of abstract meta strategy. This adds to an already intense contest. Today, that I'm viewed as a bug or a lapse in realism. But on the NES, if you just wanted another bit of challenge to treasure around and conquer. Gunstar Heroes, Treasure 1993. Treasure's co-op shooting brawling hybrid was so over the top with transforming multi-jointed bosses, previously unseen visual effects, and 16 mix and match projectile spewing guns that seemed to wonder that Genesis could handle it at all. Wildly innovative, Gunstar was the rare technical showcase as deep as it was pretty, with every stage bringing weird new surprises. As Treasure's first release, Gunstar serves as a maverick new developer's declaration of intent, and I was instantly smitten. Mirror's Edge, 2008. A lot of 3D platformers are overrun with junk for you to collect or distracting side tasks to complete, but Mirror's Edge preserves the joy of running, jumping, and despite the addition of jaw-dropping, majestic first-person view, it's beautiful. It rips. I'll never forget the first time I popped over a rooftop ledge to plunge into Zer's Let's escape below. At least this is what this guy thinks, huh? Super Smash Brothers Melee. 2001. I'm still chasing the high of wiggling back and forth across the Melee's Cornera at the nimble but witty young Link. And fights like that, we felt like some real new Star Wars Jedi, from its double jumps to its shield rolls to no other platformer controls intuitively as crisply as who would have guessed Nintendo's fighting game. Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest, 1995. SNES. Somewhere out there, I can hear Tim Rogers telling me to get off his porch because Donkey Kong Country games are an abomination, but every level in Kong's quest is exclusively crafted to make the most of its clanky protagonist. If I had to play on one video game level on loop forever, it would be Rumble Scramble. Fez 2012. Goodness, a lot of drama surrounding Fez's creation, a lot of hype and bluster too, but the game itself, revealing in retrospect, felt like a cohesive vision, emerging in all sorts of chaos. I like Fez. Its success inspired many other developers, but also became a lesson in caution. But now, years after its release, with all the backstory fitting into the background, taking Fez on its own terms is not only enjoyable, but fairer. DuckTales, and you can see it right here. DuckTales, NES, 1989. I almost put Castle of Illusion starring Mickey Mouse here, but of course DuckTales is a better game. Both the titles got remixed during the last generation. Both titles evoke all sorts of nostalgia for players. As a kid, I remember being often disappointed by licensed games, but DuckTales proved to be that sometimes they worked out. It was challenging with great graphics, wonderful music, and multi-indie kids in the late 1980s. They were lucky to have games like this. Super Mario Brothers, 1985. The first console I ever owned was the Nintendo Entertainment System, and I was blown away by Super Mario Brothers. This was the mid-1980s, and I was familiar with Jumpman and Donkey Kong. But this was before kids started eating Nintendo breakfast cereal and before the little plumber became synonymous with video games. Considering the character's iconic status, it's hard to imagine a time before Mario. I don't think Super Mario Brothers is the best platformer, let alone the best Mario game. I do think World 1-1 is a remarkable piece of video game storytelling. It's a tutorial, yes, but then we don't really have tutorials. The way it introduces the gameplay and the enemies is brilliant. First, you encounter one Goomba, then more, and then Koopa Trooper, while being introduced to the power-ups. And if you really explore the world secrets, it's all so simple yet brilliant, and encapsulation of Shigeru Miyamoto's. Whenever I'm writing about something complex, I need to explain to a wider audience, such as Japanese tattooing, whiskey, or sake. I always keep World 1-1 in mind. It never talks down to players, but at the same time, it's logical and liberating, introducing new concepts one at a time, allowing players to understand what's happening and letting people make connections for themselves. Ash, Uncharted 4, Thief's End. 26. I never picked up Uncharted game in earnest before the fourth. I had no connection to Ethan or Elena or Sullivan, but since this was my first run-in with that uniquely Naughty Dog style of storytelling, I honestly fell in love with all of them. Totally compelled by their stories. I don't hate the platforming, while I did, in fact, hate the combat, but more often I found myself just auto-playing through gameplay segments so I could get more of that rich, delicious storytelling. And the epilogue with Nation's Daughter, it was so beautiful, I cried. The first time a beautiful game made me cry since the ending of Kingdom Hearts. That game planted the seed in my heart. This is what you want to do, girl. You want to write things about in or video games that make people feel like what you feel right. Now I started freelance writing that same year. Now here I am. Tomb Raider 2. Before I do that, we have more people watching us. Thank you for dropping into the Scumdog's Kennel. An adult. I had guns to shoot, goons to murder, and the biggest boobs, sharp and triangular as they were I ever seen. Now I touched a relative. This game scared the piss out of me. Wherever tigers or other enemies would jump out of nowhere, I'd get so panicked and flustered that I'd just run away and hope they wouldn't kill me. I was so new to this style of game and trollers. We're talking about Tomb Raider 2 here. I hadn't yet learned how to move and shoot at the same time. It got so bad that I used one of my first experience with Classroom Internet to look up cheat codes so I could just skip all the levels and go right to the last where Laura has to protect her home from an invasion, because there was no way to skip it and no way to end the level without killing every bad guy. I learned how to run and gun with quickness, my reward. The final scene where Lara, about to get into the shower, turns to the camera and says, "Don't you think you've seen enough?" before with her shotgun. Sonic Triple Trouble. I've already said some words about how Sonic Triple Trouble is the best Sonic title of all time. It's just a superior mechanics, music, story, everything. It would spend hours in the game trying to dry the 6 AA batteries. Well, the 6 AAA batteries that took to power the electrical brick that was Game Gear of the handful of games I had. Triple Trouble is the only one I ever finished. Playing it, I went through every emotion 12-year-old could muster. Jay from the music of Sunset Hill's boss level, anxious from the special zones that help you run from against the clock to find chaos and real sadness whenever I feel, because those levels were labyrinthian and designed to frustrate and confirm my Game Gear is lost to the march of time, but hollowed aloud when I discovered Triple Trouble in the Nintendo 3DS eShop for $5. 25 years later, it's so much fun and holds a really well for a Sonic game. RI and the Will of the Wisps, 2020. Remember feeling, other than pure terror, the fact that people still aren't wearing masks in public? Oh, wearing masks in public, blah, blah, blah. RI and the Will of the Wisps is a supercut of every feeling, each turned all the way up to 11, crammed into the too cute for words package. Plus, it feels great to play smacks of Studio Ghibli vibes and is on Game Pass. Are you kidding me? RI and the Will of the Wisp was the last good thing before the pandemic. It's now the only thing during it. Good thing. Dead Cells. There's something irresistible about Dead Cells being the game's only takes an hour, but it takes you 40 times to reach the point, and even that it's tough to put it down because no slow run through this caffeine-fueled side-scrolling dungeon crawler is the same. New DLC from earlier this year. Yes, this game is still being updated, infused fresh energy with a bunch of new levels, a whole new army of irritated beasts to kill, a new mini boss that definitely didn't give me nightmares. Nope, no need to press that point any further. Who knew that years later I'd still be playing a little roguelite that could. Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, 2001. We could talk all day about Charos, Guardians, and pavement boarding and gaming, arguably's most heart-pumping multiplayer mode, but there's something more important to play here. This is, for example, this, and you could possibly forget this. Shinobi 3, Return of the Ninja Master, 1993. I was hesitant to consider Shinobi 3 a platformer until Alexander told me to go with it, so any complaints you have about this choice should be directed at her. When I got tired of playing Sonic the Hedgehog for the millionth time, the next Genesis game I reached for was Shinobi 3. There's something about its weird cyberpunk-esque take on Japanese ninjas and samurai that really speaks to me, especially when things get all bloody horror toward the end of the game. It's also just really good at gameplay level, a variety of complicated movement techniques that take every level worth visiting, so eke out slightly more fluid routes. Superstar, 1996. This is probably the cheating because Kirby Superstar is like 7 games in one, but I don't care. It's one of the best favorite games of all time, mostly thanks to its diversity. Spring Breeze of the first Kirby game, while Revenge of Meta Knight is like if Kirby had inserted into an intense sci-fi action movie. Milky Way Wishes is the best of the bunch, though instead of his usual copyability, Kirby finds statues as he travels between various planets that allow him to switch powers at will. The adventure then culminates in one of the series' best boss battles, because yet another eldritch horror because Kirby, I love it. Super Mario Bros. 3, 1990. I consider Super Mario 3 my first video game. And even though I wouldn't play it in myself until much later, a common story in my family is how I would sit on my dad's lap as a baby, transfixed by his playing on our television. When I was old enough to play myself, my dad and I would have marathon sessions, bonding as we alternate stages of Mario and Luigi. Fortunately, Super Mario Bros. 3 is a very good game, apart from whatever sentimental attachments I may have to it. The platforming is snappy and responsive to the world are diverse and challenging. In the art style, the worlds are diverse and challenging. World's diversity is unmatched throughout the rest of the series. I'll never forget my first time running from its angry sun and finding the hidden location of the warp. Victor Man, 1995. I don't play a lot of platformers, so my list is strange, but for one of my first games I remember loving and playing for hours and hours was Victor Man. I distinctly remember watching my dad and uncle play it. They were older and better at it than me. I was always amazed at how far they got in it. Ice Tower. When I was younger, I didn't have a lot of games. They were expensive, and my family and I were dirt poor. Wasn't rich, so I played a lot of demos and freewheel titles. One of the best freewheel games was Ice Tower, a never-ending platformer that supported custom characters. I would download weird files from strange sites in half the time I worked, but to this day, I play Ice Tower. Super Mario Odyssey. Blah, blah. It's not as good as Super Mario 64 or whatever. I've heard those people thing is I played Mario 64 and never liked it that much, but honestly, I loved every moment of it. It looks amazing, feels good, and that hat transformations are so cute and clever. What a great time I want. A great game I want. Like Galaxy 2, it's still my favorite Switch game and my favorite platformer. let's see, from this guy, Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This was, for me, peak Sonic, the visual tricks, pushing the Mega Drive to its absolute limits, the incredible soundtrack, the very Sega's weirdness around the whole thing, like Michael Jackson's doing it, at least some of the soundtrack in this, actually only being half of the original planned release. It encapsulates everything I remember and loved about just early Sonic games and Sega's best console, Jet Set Radio. I can call this a platform. The Wikipedia page says it, and it is. I'm going to run with that because while it's a game with skating, it's not a skating game. It's actually a game about graffiti and racing, jumping around. It's impossible, vibrant levels, battling some violent cops, and even a tougher enemy. The clock from battling cops, huh? Visuals. I love every part of Jet Set. Super Mario 3D World. This perfect platform is a never-ending test of your dexterity and cunning, but one that lets you do everything at your own time and pace. It never feels like punishing you if you do like anything about any Mario game from the 80s, 90s. The 3D world was what you liked, only here it's better. Bonus, Mario has never looked better than when he's here, huh? All right. That was fun. All right. Let's maybe now... For anything else, right? I'm going to go over to Disney Star Wars is dumb. Is dumb. Let's see this. Any new stories? What grunge engine could be hiding? Nope. We already covered this. So maybe go over to Indiegogo now, or maybe just a moment. Yeah. Let's see. The Lost Pages is at 19,769. It is 8 days left. It's going to reach 20,000 very soon. Wow, that's pretty good. In fact, let's go see what it's at. 19,769 is 8 days. Wow, doing well, huh? As I said before, when I can, I'm going to back the signed book plus the extra comic for $50. Signed book plus extra comic, $50. It'll go into demand in a little bit, so that'll be good. Let's see. Let's take a look at this trailer.
The Lost Pages. Fans of Zane Comics comes the first book in their connected universe of heroes, with a cover by legendary illustrator Simon Bisley. The Lost Pages is the story of a magical book in the hands of a homeless man. Within it are tales lost to time of heroes from different eras and walks of life, all protecting humanity from evil. As the word of the book is spoken around a trash fire, new crusaders of justice will be revealed to this world. A supernatural vigilante on the hard streets of Chicago named the Silhouette. An ancient sorcerer battling horrific myth on the high seas known as Wild Card. A modern-day mental monster from the mind of a bodybuilder babe, Brimstone. And a pulp hero from the 1930s, a master of disguise donning the mask of the masquerade. This is just the beginning, for in the future these heroes and more will come together to write the end of the world. But for now, the ink of life flows on every page. Will you be there to read it? Only on Indiegogo.
That was the trailer for the Lost Pages, and very soon it's going to reach $20,000, and it's going to hit that last. Well, let's see. Look at its perks here. Down here, once it reaches 20,000, the extra comic is getting another 4-page story. It already has the Pianist, this one, and this pages. Vine by Sim Unlocked. Next story, 20,000. Adrift, Fort Legend 4-page search story. As you see here, 12 pages. Now, 16 pages, 20 pages, 24 pages. Once it reaches the final stretch, this at 20,000, Drift, a 4-page search story, and a trading card. Not bad. That'll be. Let's see. 16, 20, 24, 20. It'll be a 28 page comic book for the extra one. That's going to be good for it. And it's probably going to reach that before it reaches the final ending of its campaign. So they might add another 4-page short story if they make it past 20,000. So that's another good thing. I can only hope. Let's go to updates. See if there's been July 13th. Cards galore. Yeah, this is one of the characters, Vine, getting a 4-page short story. He's a bounty hunter from hell. Looks pretty good. Very nice. Right? Very, very nice. Let's go over here. Still doing well. Let's look at some more Indiegogos, or we could look at something else here. Let me go over to PC Gamer now. How a spooky game about being alone in a server launched on accidental ARG. That looks interesting. I think I'll cover it. That's an ARG. Just real quick before we do anything, it starts with an image of VHS tape hovering on your desktop. Click on that, and the game begins with a sketchy MS-DOS style menu screen. You're given a multiplayer server list, and they're all empty. Click on one, and you enter a CTF game as a quick era FPS. Return to the flag once, and a strange thing starts happening. Twin Peaks-esque music blare from a record player that appears in one of the map. You spot a dark figure watching you, which, flickers away as you get to it. The dark figure reappears. You discover the server is keeping someone alive. Its creator joins the game and begs you not to return the flag for a third and final time. When you do, this short, free narrative game called No Players Online ends in an empty multiplayer map. It turns out it is a fantastic setting for a horror game. For me, it started because I was doing a course in level design, so we were building a level for Unreal Tournament, says a designer, Adam Pipe, who made No Players Online, which sounds designer Victor Claus, and a fellow student at the Digital Arts and Entertainment Games School at Belgian University. However, when you make a level, you spend a lot of time just walking around empty maps and observing the environment and checking the design. I thought it was a real cool atmosphere just walking around multiplayer design maps all on your own. I thought this would be a good premise for her horror thing. Pipe made the game and submitted it to the Haunted PS1 Jam in November 2019. That should have been the end of No Players Online, but as the game grew in popularity, it became something more. What came next was a elaborate, unsettling ARG that involved a real Belgian phone number, a real-life note hidden in a forest, and an entirely different game that hid clues to unraveling the true ending of this novel horror experiment. This would capture the imaginations of amateur internet sleuths and create a spooky metagame that Haruo Kojima would envy. Wow. I heard about this. I saw this I saw gameplay of this. It was good. It was a very unique game. I saw this with Markiplier played through this game, and I saw it. He also did some of this stuff, trying to get it all down. Was it Markiplier or was it PewDiePie? Either way, it was very good. It was very fun. And I mean that. It was very fun. Watching them do this, never played it myself. I was thinking about getting this game. Well, maybe because there's a lot of stuff do extra stuff to do as well. No Players grew into an ARG simply because people were overthinking what was already there. You'd play for 10 minutes or something. That's what we were made first 4 days to put on for the jam. Pipe says, I added a small Easter egg that if you quit out of the game and played it again, there was one line of dialogue that was different. But after the game launched and got attention, I saw videos of people finding that Easter egg and being totally obsessed, thinking there's more to it. And I thought I'd screw with them and add a little extra part to it so that something would happen. And we kept adding stuff to it until we actually made an entire ARG. Its developers would gradually build on the game, hitting a new players online itch page that entering the Konami code would let players see other endings. Players discovered they could make an eye eerily appear in the sky, shooting the eye with your gun. Cuts to a video of a person's hand drawings arrows with a pencil. Entering those arrows with your board made a ping appear on your desktop. With a date on the corner on this date, the developer added an email address to the game itch page, emailing that gave you a spooky auto replay with a fictional developer in this signature replay. There was a link to a Geosites-esque itch page for an unknown game called I. This is where the ARG gets really interesting. I is about walking a dog down a dark path, but you never see the dog after a minute of walking. You come to a pier. When you walk off the pier's edge, a nasty sound effect plays in the game. Closes. Another image of a VHS tape appears on your desktop, mirroring the start of No Players Online. The ensuing video offers another clue that leads to the real final. The idea of using an entirely different game to help solve the mysteries are very cool. It makes you buy into the section of long-abandoned game products that have taken on a sinister life of their own. I actually started as a different game. The inspiration for my game came from a totally different hook, says designer Ward. Adam was saying at my place when we were making it in the beginning, we were working on totally different projects and we had writer's block. We were kind of stuck and we went for a long walk with the dog. He ran away and it was dark and we felt if we were able to capture that atmosphere in the I game, which is about walking a dog, we thought we'd have something unique and special. Then we were making it. We decided if we did something extra for No Players Online, Pipette. So that's how that happened. The game was made in 4 days and the ARG was made in 6. I think we were just very motivated, here says. AG Detectives. An entire community formed around the solving the game's many mysteries. They set up a Discord server and where they were solving the riddles, says Composer, and I joined it because my name was in the credits for No Players Online itself back then. They didn't know I was actually worked on the game and I saw them solving everything. We thought they would solve it. A weekend, they solved it in an hour or something. It was amazing. It was really made up on the go, Pipe says. Not all of the ARG were solved by players or an automated phone message. How your mouse code had to be published on Bandcamp because the audio quality was too poor. Although a traditional line in one instance too, a code was found by determining the game rather than solving it as intended and didn't always pan out perfectly. It was difficult to balance it. Too easy or too hard, Pipe says. It was either too easy for that they solved it in an hour, or it was too hard that they didn't solve it and determined everything. I felt like that definitely a big problem. Is just getting the difficulty right. Of the game takes place in a hidden developer room where entering the right number makes the credits roll. The final element of ARG involved figuring out coordinates that, when entered into Google Maps, gave you the location of a forest in Belgium. Someone actually went there, found a poem written on a piece of paper which represented the end of the game's journey. I eventually, for the very last part where they hid to go in the woods and stuff did help them out with a very cryptic Discord says. Pipe says, No Players Online basic premises is clever in making me wonder what a horror game set in Hollow's Blood Gulch or Unreal Tournament facing worlds would be like. But this is an extremely detailed metagame, and the effect people made to uncover the truth behind it makes the whole thing a bit of mythical. This horror game is actually two connected horror games connected by a universe of supporting materials that add to the lore of No Players Online. Though the ARG, we also get the chance to put more question marks behind a lot of things. Here says the mystery makes it. Yeah. I asked the developers why the game and was in it as much as they did. I think it really captured people's imaginations because it's something you can't keep taking about. Pipe says it's a real community event, but the game itself is what really interests me. For the initial reception, the game is seeing people who could relate to being alone on a server. I think we tapped into a very specific nostalgia that a lot of people have. Wow. That does look interesting, doesn't it, folks? Now, let's go back over here. We're an hour and 13 minutes in. I could give some more news stories, and maybe we will. Looks interesting. Right? Or maybe I should look at some more comic books. We could take a look at this. Let's go down here. There's Aya. 8 days left to meet 3,326, nearly fully funded. Not bad. There's Cash Grab now funding through In Demand, making way more money. T-Bird and Throttle 4, final and collected edition, and now it's not getting another 30 days. That's weird. It's made $24,170. It's made $8,000 more than what it was asking for. That's gravy. But he should have kept it in for another 30 days and made sure. could have basically hyped it up more. Or he just wants to get this out as soon as possible. Either way, it does look interesting. But this game here was fun. I heard about this game. I watched its gameplay on either, well, PewDiePie or Markiplier. It was probably PewDiePie. But it was really fun to watch. I mean, he even did some of the extra stuff. And he worked through all this thing. He did that dog simulator thing, too. All right, now what else was it to say? It was very fun watching it. And stuff. It was very, very fun. All right. That's maybe go to something else now. Maybe keep it here. But either way, it was one hell of a good thing. Let me try this. Maybe we can see if we can't get any more games to come up. There's this. I'm in. See stuff here. Inventing Incidents, 19 days left. Been a while since I saw this. Once Upon a Frying Pan has been fully funded with 33 days left. The Last Goodbye. Let's go down here. The Plot Holes still sits at $259, $163 now running through in demand. Butch Cleaver has made $1,375 with 21 days left. It's just going to be funded. Lily and Rapper wrote $218. Cecil's Big Cover ended, but it's still basically, it might just be suspended. Maybe there's a chance we could get it back. Another case for The Littlest Umbrella, $141, $435 with another, well, it's still running through in demand, and that's good. Graham Nolan's The Chinoo is at $63,566. Let's go back over here. We're now in 16 minutes in. I'm going to tell you, folks, go and subscribe to Stitched Together Picks. It's a YouTube channel hosted by the Maniacal Cinephile. You'll love his videos and his reviews. They are great. He does this. He plays this character, Maniacal Cinephile, as he's reviewing these movies, and it's just fun to watch. Go and subscribe to Stitched Together Picks. Also, go and subscribe to Creepy Little Book. They're like the Art Bell radio show. Creepy Little Book does live streams nightly around at 10 o'clock. He does it with his friends. And as I said, they talk about the creepy and strange things that go on in the world, like aliens and ghosts. And not only will you be watching Creepy Little Book himself, you also watch his friends who are other popular YouTubers like Fedorable the Horrible, Tina, and Mecha Random 42. You'll enjoy all of them as they get together and have a bunch of fun talking about this. Also, go and subscribe to Robot Co-op. They're like Mystery Science Theater 3000. Only they do live streams while playing with video games. They use these robot puppets and they have fun as hell making fun of these games as they're playing them. Watch these robot puppets and others play video games and have a bunch of fun. That's Robot Co-op. Also, go and subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Read Comics They're Bad For You. The there is misspelled. It's THERE. All right? That's Read Comics They're Bad For You. Also, go and subscribe to my channels on, well, Library and BitChute. They're both under the name Comic Freak. Now, I'll be back tomorrow around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock for another live stream, so be sure to come back then, okay, folks? Today has been a great live stream, huh? We talked about news stories, and we had a bunch of fun looking at some comics as well. But we had one hell of a great time, and I'm going to thank you all for joining me today. Let's see. As I said, I'll be back again tomorrow around 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. Well, I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow. Bye, folks.